So welcome everyone. This is our next webinar in our series of Future You, Prospects Future You webinars. This is Getting Women into STEM, and today we have Tareem Sheikh, who is CEO of Higher STEM Women, who will be talking to you about getting women into STEM. Tareem, over to you.
Oh, I don't think can everyone hear me all right? I'm assuming so. Hello, good morning, everyone. Hope you are having a very good morning. And today I'm going to be talking about how to get women into STEM careers. And I'm assuming everyone can see my slide. So I will walk through that with you. So if we go on to the first slide, today we really believe here at Higher STEM Women that in a world where every single person has access to technology, women can make an impact. And today I'll give an overview of the agenda. So I'll be giving a little introduction and giving you a little bit of an explanation as to why the gender gap in STEM industries exist, what barriers young women currently face, and why is increasing female representation in STEM industries so important, and what is being done in the STEM sector to encourage more women into STEM careers. I'll also introduce you to our alumni network. I have Samantha Smith from Capgemini, who'll give an introduction into her role, and also Habib from Microsoft, giving a talk about their career journey in collaboration with Higher STEM Women. So why does the gender gap exist? So a few real reasons behind the gender gap in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. It's really stereotypes. So things that, I mean, when I was a lot younger, probably, around my early 20s, I studied electrical engineering at university in my first year. And one of the misconceptions I had was, oh, you don't look like someone who would have done engineering. So it's just those stereotypes. Well, what does an engineer look like? Bearing in mind, I'm not a professional engineer. So just to give a bit of insight into my background. So it's really those stereotypes that need to change. The constant persistent discrimination. So being judged because you're a woman in the STEM workforce, but things are changing, but it's that persistent discrimination around why the gender gap exists, and having more men in senior roles. Whilst things are improving slowly but surely, but there is a real need to introduce more female role models at that senior leadership level. And then, of course, most importantly, the lack of investment in female-led initiatives. So really, these are a few of the reasons why we feel the gender gap exists in the STEM industry. So what are the barriers that currently are faced by women in the industry, or especially at an early talent perspective? So in 2020, we did a survey with around 2,500 female students, and this is what some of the things that they had to say. And maybe some of you can relate as well. So one of them is actually the perception. So the perception to have knowledge of coding languages for a technology career. So often when we recruit, we often get asked, do I have to have a knowledge on Python, or do I have to have an understanding of HTML to land my first role in technology? Well, not necessarily, because there are so many graduate programs out there that will give you the training and tools to equip you for a career within the industry. And there's a lot of support available, and I'll kind of talk a little bit more about that later on. So one of the other barriers people stated that they faced was having a specialist degree. So the need to have a computer science degree to progress in a STEM career. Not necessarily. As I mentioned, I mean, there's a lot of support available. You can get into apprenticeships if you're at a school leaver stage, but of course there are a lot of training and tools available to actually break those barriers. And then the ability to ace assessments with organizations. And this is something that we can completely understand. When you're doing a lot of on, you're in your final year at university, for example, and you're applying for internships and graduate schemes, and the idea of doing psychometric tests can be quite daunting. So there's a lot of pressure and perceptions and barriers that students do face when it comes to applying for jobs within the industry. But there is hope, and I'll of course talk about that a little bit later on. And then one of the other reasons, the barriers that we found, was the gender pay gap. So according to Capgemini, research was done around gender pay gap reports, and although women in STEM fields tend to have higher salaries than women in non-STEM fields, there is still an existence of gender pay gap in STEM professions. So this is just to give you an insight into the barriers that females are faced in the industry. So why is increasing female representation in STEM industry so important? Well, did you know £6 billion are invested is available in venture capital funding in 2018, according to Tech Nation? And Britain's technology industry is absolutely booming. So there's definitely a market and demand for technology. And as you can see from this figure, there's a lot of funding available for the tech sector. And according to Tech Nation, around 80% of tech investment in the UK is in fast-growing businesses, which essentially is creating new jobs, products, and innovative services. However, women are missing out on this entrepreneurial success, making up just 17% of IT specialists in the UK. So the number is quite low. So I'd actually like to start off with a poll. So one of my questions is, can you name a female in technology? So you should get a screen at the top of your, in front of you, which is telling you, can you name a female in tech? And if you just actually select yes or no from your screens, and I can actually share the results. And there's a reason why I'm asking this question. So actually, around 32% of you said you can name a female in technology, and 68% of you mentioned that you're not able to name a female in technology. So I'll go on to my next slide. So a research done by PwC Women's Network found that 78% of students can't name a famous female working in technology, hence why I asked you all to select yes and no in the poll. And it reflects on the study that they did. So 78% of students can't name a famous female working in technology. 3% of females say a career in technology is their first choice. A greater gender balance is definitely required. 3% is definitely a low number. And then 23% of people working in STEM roles in the UK are females. So let's change perceptions and fight for change. And then unfortunately, so around 5% of leadership positions in the technology industries are held by women. So we definitely need more equal opportunities in the industry, despite various initiatives. A quick information session. So did you know 40%, so companies with more women on their boards were found to outperform their rivals with a 42% higher return in sales, 66% higher return on invested capital, and 53% higher return on equity by women on boards. So there's definitely a lot that we can do. So what is being done in the STEM sectors to encourage more women into STEM careers? So here at High STEM Women, we're extremely passionate about helping women progress into STEM careers. And we have a lot of training and a lot of support available for women who want to progress within science, technology, engineering and maths careers. And you don't necessarily need to have a STEM degree to progress in these industries. There is a wealth of support available to help you ace assessments with companies, to help you build your confidence when it comes to video interviews, especially in a digital era that we're actually in at the moment due to COVID. As I mentioned, we're huge in supporting women in STEM careers, and we work with quite a lot of organisations to provide the opportunities within the sectors. and I will show you quite a few of the organisations we work with. In terms of kind of our process, so we encourage people to register on our website, and one of our recruitment team gets in touch with you and actually really wants to understand the challenges that you face, and then we build a bespoke training and coaching program to help you build confidence in going into STEM industries. And one of the ways we give individuals access to STEM careers is we host several virtual events with leading industry partner firms to give you access to unlimited opportunities. And during the pandemic, we invited over 10 plus organisations to give over 300 plus women access to STEM careers. And how you can really get support from higher STEM women. So I won't go into too much detail, conscious of time. However, the recruitment process is pretty straightforward. So you register online, fill out a few details, get invited to exclusive events, and be the first to hear about opportunities within STEM. So it could be through events, coaching, training, insight into various different career specialisms within STEM. We have a team who would sit down with you and discuss your profile, and you'd have a dedicated coach to help you build confidence, and then essentially helping you get unlimited access to different opportunities within the industry. And it's very exclusive to you. Okay, this slide is not showing up. So I'd like you to meet Samantha Smith. So I'll mute myself, and Samantha Smith, I don't know if you can hear us, so I'll let you log in. I'll hide myself now.
Hello everyone, hope everyone is doing really well. So I am Samantha Smith, or Sam Smith, and I actually studied at University of Reading, and I actually did a business management degree. I was a graduate in 2020, so during the hype of the pandemic, and I was extremely nervous that I wouldn't find a job that I enjoyed, and I was really into tech even though I was business based. So I had a module in second and third year which I did info systems, which basically touched upon different information systems and how it worked. And I actually came across SAP on there, and I thought, oh wow, this is amazing. So I'm actually currently employed by Capgemini at the moment, and I am working as a SAP functional specialist, which is crazy to even say now. And it's basically based on client requirements. I test and design systems, and I work with developers. And one of the projects I've been working on has just gone live, and it's been quite a big one, so very, very happy. In terms of gender gap in STEM, I think there definitely is a gap. I think it's quite biased. I think you kind of walk into a room and you expect to see loads of men, and that kind of scares women from going ahead and looking into these careers. When I was applying for jobs in 2020 after graduating, I was trying to apply for tech, but I was more going for business because I guess we're just more comfortable with going something where we see more of each other in, I guess. So it was challenging to find a job in 2020, but luckily, I bumped into High STEM Women, and by chance, very luckily. So I had a coach call me and explain the role and the process, and they explained how High STEM Women would help me at every stage. So with Capgemini, there are a few stages to get into the process. So there was interviews, psychometrics, a presentation, so quite a lot. And my coach was so helpful. We had regular calls, and she was constantly there when I needed her. I could always send her a text and she'd message whenever she could back. So she offered me help by giving me information packs on the company, kind of what they expect to see, the key skills. I had trial interviews with her, and I also sent her many presentations where I'd talk about STEM and science and technology, and she'd help me raise my awareness. And I think High STEM Women, what they do is they make you become confident in who you are. So I knew I was going to be a tech girl, to be honest, and I think High STEM Women really gave me that push to kind of get there and apply for the job and just show me how to better present myself in the field. They were constantly supportive, and honestly, my coach felt like my best friend. Like when I got the job and I called her up, she was so supportive. And Tareem actually reached out and messaged me and congratulated me, which is also such a nice little touch. So not only this, but working with High STEM Women, like it means that I'm a part of the alumni, and I've been given so many opportunities even post getting the job with Capgemini. So we always keep in regular contact, and I always get opportunities with working like places with prospects, or I'll be on their Instagram sometime soon if you want to check that out. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities that high STEM women, they don't just leave you once you get the job. They're always there to coach you, and they will always be there. So as an alumni, I'm very happy. I started in Capgemini in September, and I'm very happy with my job, and it's still my dream job. And I think that is all thanks to high STEM women to giving me that push. But that's from me.
Thank you so much for that information, Sam. And we're so pleased to have helped you out to land your dream role. I'd like to go on to the next slide and introduce Hiba Rubel. So Hiba, I'll flow you into the conversation. So I'll just hide myself again.
That's great. Thank you, Sareem. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies, I can't turn my camera on at the moment. However, it's really great to be here and to see so many of you attend the call. So as Sareem said, my name is Hibag Rubel. I'm a banking technical specialist within financial services at Microsoft. Started there same time as Sam in September of last year. I didn't do a tech degree, so I came from an accounting and finance background. That's what I studied at Birmingham City University. So graduated same time as Sam in 2020 during the pandemic. And prior to that, I had done an internship, a placement year during my penultimate year at university at EY, because I thought that I wanted to become an accountant, was going down the financial route, and then quickly realized once I started work that maybe wasn't the career path for me. So I just took the time to really explore the different industries available. I did a coding course for 3 months where I just learned the fundamentals of CSS, JavaScript, just to really see if that's something that I wanted to do and to pick up a new skill. I realized that coding wasn't 100% for me, but tech was definitely something that I was interested in. And so after that, when I came back to university for my final year, I reached out to High STEM Women. I applied to them, and the first thing I did was send my CV to them as I wanted to apply for tech roles, and quickly realized that my CV was very financy, and needed to become more of a tech type CV. And there are certain specific things that they look for. And what I found extremely useful was High STEM Women providing me with a coach, and I worked with her to get my CV up to the standard that it needed to be, and to make sure that I applied the relevant experience on there so that I could apply for the jobs and have a chance to actually get through the first stages. High STEM Women also helped me with attending a Women in Tech event at Microsoft, which is actually where my first interest of Microsoft came from. And Tareen was there, and she introduced me to the recruitment people, the people that she had in contact with, and it was fantastic because it gave me an insight into the company, and it really motivated me to apply for them. Having then worked with my coach back and forth to really get my CV up to top notch, I got through the first couple of rounds, and then with my assessment center, I got an information pack, and I had, honestly, more support than I've had from university or any type of sort of company that I've gone to for help. And I'm indebted to them forever because of their support and their help, I've been able to land this job. And it has been honestly a dream, even though we've been working during a pandemic. It's been fantastic. I'm getting to work with the latest technology to be able to provide, our banking customers with digital transformations, and it's something that I think is a great mix between finance and tech for myself. So I would say, yeah, this is the perfect role for me. I would implore you all to give it a go, because the support you get is second to none. And yeah, I've had a really positive experience. So thank you all. And as Sam said, post job, it's not like you just get let go. I'm always in contact with Tareem. Anything that I need, anything that she needs, it's a real great relationship that you build, and you're part of this alumni, and you have this network of other, graduates who have landed jobs as well that you can leverage, and it's just a great network to have.
All right, I'm back. Thank you so much for that, Hibag. That's really kind, and it's always a great pleasure to work with you. So I'll go on to the next slide, and I'm really open to taking any questions anyone has. So please feel free to put it in the comment section or type. So I'll try and monitor it whilst I'm here. So, oh, I've got 3 questions already. So let's have a look. Anja, if I'm saying your name correctly, Anna or Anja, sorry if I've not pronounced that question accurately. Is the support offered by Higher STEM Women free for students and graduates? Yes, absolutely, it's completely free. Sophie, would quantity surveying be offered as a STEM career? Yes, it can. So if you wanted to, I'll give you our contact details so you can have a chat with our coaches. What advice would you give for a BA graduate hoping to undertake an MSc in computing with UX? So first of all, I think it's really useful. So the way we typically work, so if you were interested in that specific career, we'd ask you to register your details on our website, and would then pair you up with a coach who would actually go through your CV and actually give you ideas on what you can take to, or what kind of skills you need to build up upon to get a career within that particular industry. So I'll give you our contact details, and then we can pair you up with a coach who can actually go through that with you in more detail. Just going through more questions. So Nigel, thank you for your question. So how competitive is the recruitment process for high STEM women? So we have a very open approach. So what we want to do, we don't want to limit people with opportunities, especially since it's been a very difficult year for a lot of students due to COVID. So we would just ask you to register your details on our website. We match you up with a coach, and we're very realistic and honest in terms of what we can do. And I mean, we are specialists in STEM careers, so most of the opportunities that we do get are specific to kind of science, technology, engineering and maths, but anyone can really apply, and it's not that competitive. Well, I wouldn't say it's competitive, it would only get competitive depending on the company you want to work for and the recruitment process, and that's why we coach people throughout the application process so that they can get that confidence, because these recruitment processes are definitely not easy, hence why we have such a bespoke approach. Hope that answers your question. Is the support open to students outside the UK, Esther? Thank you for that question. So we accept students from, we accept international students on our platform, but the kind of visa side of things, it kind of comes down to the companies and whether they sponsor them or not. So we do encourage everyone to register, and depending on whatever the situation is with any of the companies that we work with, we would still work with you to build your confidence. Just going on to more questions. So Madara Ramsa, where or how can I be part of STEM? I'm assuming you mean to say how you can be part of our community. So I will move on to the next slide and see if, once we've finished the Q&A, and actually give you all our contact details and how you can kind of register and get in touch, and you know, feel free to get in touch through us through Prospect as well, and we'll be happy to give you all the registration details as well. Just going through quite a lot of questions. So Kate, thank you. Kate Ayres, if I'm saying that correctly, apologies if I'm not pronouncing names correctly, but please, I wish there was a way people could correct me. Does Higher STEM Women engage with universities and run sessions for students? Yes, absolutely. So we work with quite a lot of universities. We've got partnerships with over 90 universities. I'm not sure which university you're from, so we would be happy to kind of have a conversation with you and do sessions as well to help with confidence boosting sessions, STEM career sessions. So there's a lot we do with universities, and happy to send more information on that as well. Linda Schoon, is typing speed important to work in IT? Not necessarily. I mean, I think it's all about what you, I'm a strong believer of quality over quantity when it comes to these things. So it's typing speed important. So I think it comes down to what quality of work you can produce for any particular given company. Speed is also important because it comes down to depending on what industry you end up specializing in and how fast paced it is. So it's all about adapting to ever changing situations. And you know, sometimes you need to respond quickly to things, but I guess it comes down to what industry you end up specializing in and what STEM sector you go into. So there's quite a lot of questions, so excuse my silence, I'm just going through them. So Lucien Duru, is it mainly for careers in technology or also in life sciences? So we are specialists in technology talent, but we do cover other areas of STEM as well, so sciences, engineering and mathematical careers too. So it's quite a lot of questions. So Natalie Romero, I'm starting a master's in genomics this September. Would I be eligible for STEM help? Yeah, absolutely. Register on our website and we'd be happy to kind of support you. Lucia Rickon, you've mentioned I'm driving STEM outreach activities within the company I work for and looking to provide more opportunities for women specifically. Do you have any advice, tips on how to go about doing this? Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot that you can do, and I'm happy to kind of set some time aside and go through that in a lot more detail. So please feel free to email us and I'd be happy to kind of give you more tips in a lot more detail. So Carissa, would we be able to contact you anytime after this call if we have a question? Yes, Carissa, absolutely. Please feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer questions. That's absolutely fine. Victoria Toms, if someone's degree is in health studies, is there a way to make a breakthrough in STEM? Absolutely. There's no, you don't need to come from a technology background to go into STEM. There's lots of different routes you can take. So Ria Sharma, how closely do high STEM women coaches work with their graduates to find a career that best fits them? Oh, very closely. As Sam and Habib mentioned earlier on, you have a dedicated coach working with you, and we're very realistic. We don't want to promise you know, the world and moon, but we are very realistic in our approach, just to kind of manage expectations as well. So yeah, that's kind of how we work with coaches. So if you register on our website, get in touch with us on email and we'd pair you up with a coach and you can have a thorough discussion with them. I've just got a notification. One last question. I'm conscious it's 11:30 now. So Amanda Watson, so what famous women are there in STEM? A few names would be useful. So I'll take you to my next slide. So one of the famous women we have is Sheryl Sandberg. So one of the things, she's the chief operating officer for Facebook. And she said, if you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat, just get on. That's my tip as well to everyone. And here's all our details. Feel free to get in touch with us. And I'll hand over to Ellie, who will conclude the session.
Thank you so much. That was so informative, and I hope all of our attendees took something from it as well. It was really brilliant to hear about women actually going into STEM and the journey that they took and how happy they are with that as well. So that was really positive message there. If you'd like to watch the webinar again, We will be sending out the on-demand link later on today to everybody that's registered. If you'd like to pass the link on to friends as well, if you think it would be informative, that would be really great too. And just thank you again from Higher STEM Women, and enjoy the rest of the day, guys. Bye.